Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about how to record and replay a JMeter script. This session will be one of the multiple sessions that we are going to conduct to help you guys learn and understand how a load test script is prepared using JMeter tool. So agenda for this session is we'll start with about the speaker, then we will get into brief about how a performance testing project is executed, so life cycle of a performance testing project. Then we understand how a script is prepared. When we talk about script is right now we are talking about web application script. Then we will talk about understanding the workflow, recording the steps, different steps that we need to perform to record a script and then replay, and how do we do the replay, how do we check if replay is correct. So we are going to talk about these things today. First, about the speaker. I am Jitin Chadha. I am founding director at Perfizi Enterprise Private Limited. We provide testing services. We also have a AI based patent pending performance testing framework which can fasten up our testing process, basically the performance testing process, the scripting, the load test execution, the scenario designing, the reporting. So we can get everything done very quickly using this framework. I have around 14 years of experience in performance and security testing. I have built multiple testing COEs, build as well as manage some COEs. I have worked as a technical manager and performance analyst in projects across different technologies and domains: investment banking, insurance, e-commerce, m-commerce. I have executed around 140 plus projects. I have worked with clients like Adobe, BNP Paribas, Boston Consulting Groups, Aon, CMAX, Max Insurance, Snapdeal, Fashion and You. So, a lot of domains as well as a lot of clients across the globe. Some certifications: I have HP LoadRunner AIS, I have IBM Certified Solution Designer for Rational Performance Tester, IBM Certified Specialist for Rational App Scan, and Rational Robo. Let's move to the topic that we are going to talk about today. So first is the life cycle of a performance testing project. So we are going to get into a quick brief about the performance testing project. So first step is the requirement gathering, where we try to understand the application details, the scope of the activity, what are the workflows that are to be tested, what is the technology used by the application, what is the communication protocol. We define the workload model, the user load expectations, the response time expectation, configuring, setting up the SLAs. So those things are done in the first step, that is requirement gathering. Then, based on the workload model, now we know what are the workflows that are to be tested. So we move on to the load test script preparation, and using the same workload model where the details about the user load expectations are there, so based on that we design our scenarios as well. Using these scenarios we run multiple load tests, stress tests, performance tests, uh, volume tests to identify the breakpoints, to identify the load handling capacity, the bottlenecks, the benchmarks, etc. So first is identify the performance benchmark using the load test scenarios that we have already prepared. If the expectations are met, assuming uh, we are testing one microservice or an API, so that particular API is expected to give us a throughput of 200 API calls per minute. If it is meeting that expectations, then just validate the requirement again. Make sure we are not missing any other factor. Was there a response time factor also there, that we need to achieve 200 transactions per minute with a response time of maximum 1 second? So make sure that we have checked and we have our application, the APIs, microservices, whatever we are testing is meeting the expectation requirement and the results are mapped. Second situation, the expectations are not met, then we go for bottleneck identification. So we run detailed test, we run specific debugging test to identify the root cause of why the application is not meeting our performance expectations, and we try to pinpoint the bottlenecks. Pinpoint the bottlenecks would mean we need to specifically mention this query is the cause of slowness, or a particular query is causing a deadlock at the backend due to which some failures are happening. A particular code class or a method which is taking a lot of time to execute, or a particular method which is causing a memory leak. So we need to pinpoint. This is called bottleneck identification. So we share these bottlenecks that we identify from the app server, the database server. There can be some configuration issues. So whatever bottlenecks we identify, we share it with the relevant teams, the development team, the DBAs, the networking team, depending on the type of issue, and they come back with the fixes. So we do the next step is to do the revalidation, same test, repeat, see if we are observing any improvement in the performance or not. If yes, if now the performance expectations are met, then again go back to validate requirement. If they are still not met, do another round of bottleneck identification. Assuming in the second round all the expectations related to the performance of the application are met, we validated the requirement that yes, the expectations are matching and all the requirements are met. Now we share the report, final report, and closure of the project is done. The topic of today was to how we record and replay a JMeter script. So in all this performance testing project lifecycle, where the tool is involved, in all these steps we would need a performance testing tool. JMeter is one of the performance testing tool or the load testing tool. So right now we are talking about JMeter. So JMeter will be used to prepare the script and scenario. For benchmarking, we need to perform the load test execution using those script and scenarios only. We need to make sure that the bottleneck identification when is done, then also you need to generate the load using these scripts only. Validating requirement, the inputs that are provided by the tool are an important source to confirm if the requirements are met or not. And closure reporting also contain the same statistic related to the results that we captured using the tool, as well as the monitoring statistic from the servers, the network, etc. So the tool is involved in all these steps. Once the requirement gathering is completed, then almost every step the load testing tool is required. Let's move on to the topic of today, that is script preparation process. First step is to make sure that we understand the workflow that is to be recorded, replayed, for which we are going to prepare the script is understood properly. We need to make sure that there is no ambiguity or there is no confusion in our understanding of the workflow. Then we move on to first is we set up the JMeter, add the thread groups, add transaction controller, configure the proxy so that the recording can happen on the JMeter. On the browser side, we set the proxy, we clear the cookie and cache. So this is a best practice or a good practice that we should all follow. Whenever we prepare a script, before starting the recording of the script, make sure that you have cleared all the cache and the cookie from the browser side so that we record the completeness. There can be a possibility that something was already there in the cache of the browser, due to which we missed some server calls. So make sure you clear the cache. Now another option in place of clearing the cookie cache is to use the incognito mode. So there the cache cookie are already deleted and a separate session is prepared. So we can also go for a incognito mode. Once the JMeter and browser are set, we start the recording, and here make sure that each step is recorded in a separate transaction controller, so that later on for customization of the script we need not to identify, or that we do not waste time in identifying which server call or which HTTP call is called by which screen. So we have separate transaction controllers for each of the step. Make sure to select the transaction in the JMeter before we perform a specific activity. For example, if we are going to login, so before that in the JMeter select that transaction login and then perform that login activity on the browser, so that the recording happens in the correct transaction. We will get more clarity how we do these things once we start looking at the JMeter screen. Once the recording is complete, we replay the flow and validate each response. View each transaction to confirm all the steps. So here, before replaying, make sure that all the transaction steps have the request and the correct request are recorded. There are some situations where we like, because right now nowadays a lot of plugins or a lot of add-ins are there in the browser itself, so there can be a possibility some Google calls are recorded or some Microsoft calls are recorded which are not part of our script, or which are not really called by our application, but they were called by the browser or some other activities happening on our system on that specific port. So the tool would record that flow or those requests. So make sure to disable or delete those transactions or those requests that were incorrectly captured, and confirm if all the screens are properly recorded in our relevant transaction steps or transaction controllers. Now replay the recorded script and do the same activities. Check every response to make sure that we are sending the correct request and are we getting the correct response or not. Here we need to understand the difference. So what happens, the major problem is that people see or the tool gives you a green option, that says the request passed, because you get a green tick, that means the request was passed. But no, it may be a false alarm or a false status, because how tool says it passed or failed is it sees a 200 response or a 300 response and it would say the response passed. But what happens if a properly built application will never throw a 400 or a 500 status code? It will always give you a proper response message that we are encountering a lot of load. You receive the username password was entered incorrectly. So these proper responses, the proper error messages also have the status code of 200 or a 300 status code only. So tool will not be able to distinguish between the correct response based on these status code. So we have to go and see the response content, then only we can say that yes, the request is passing or the request is failing. This tip is very important at this stage as well, and when we do the customization. So this would help us to make sure that we are doing the customization in the proper request, the proper responses are coming as a result of our customization or not. Make sure that not to rely on the status code 200 or 300. Make sure you check the response content of each and every response before we say that my script is correct or my script is replaying correctly. Then we go for the customization. Once we make sure that the script is recorded correctly, when in the replay also we are sending the correct request, the things are so as per the recording we are able to send the same request properly in the replay as well, and we have removed all the third party or the extra requests which were not part of uh, our application we have removed. So now we start moving towards the customization of script. This customization will require parameterization of the user entered text or user entered values. So parameterization is done for the static values, the values that are inserted or typed or selected by the user when he is performing the activity. So this is a very good way to understand the difference between what are the things we should parameterize and what are the things that we should correlate. So the values that are entered by the user or the information that we know before starting the recording of the script are parameterization candidates. Correlation candidates are those things which are dynamically generated during runtime or which are generated by the server or the application, and you will not be able to know those values before you reach to that step or you start performing that activity on the application. So those values which are dynamically generated should be correlated, and the values that are entered by the user should be parameterized. Some other things that we need to add are the timers for adding think time, pacing. We will talk about these concepts as well in some future sessions. Listeners, to make sure that we capture, first of all, while debugging the script, we make sure that we see the screenshots or the response content properly and make sure that the correct responses are coming. Then during the load test executions, we add the relevant listeners to get the response time, pass fail, throughput, the statistics that we require to share with the business management or our lead. And there are some other components which are used depending on the scenario or different kind of situations where we are going to prepare the script. So but these customizations of the script we are going to talk about in some future sessions. Today we are going to be confined till setting up the JMeter, setting the browser proxy, then we'll record a flow, then we'll move on to replaying the flow and how we see each and every response, if it is correctly coming or it is not correctly coming. So we are going to be talking about these things only. First of all, as I told that before we move on to the tool, we need to make sure that we understand the workflow properly. So make sure to run the application manually at least 2-3 times so that all the steps are familiar to you and you know what are the inputs to be added, what are the things or where we have to click, where the requests are coming. Get familiar with the application steps. My suggestion is make this kind of table. So this detail would be can be part of your user load model or workload model, or can be a separate entity where you keep like share with the client or your management or your leads, or if at least you should have this kind of things for your reference itself. So here the information that we have is, first is the serial number, then we have a workflow ID, we have search and view item details is the first workflow name, then the second workflow is the select category and by flow, and these are the steps for those specific workflows. For example, for the search and view item details, which is workflow first, workflow 01 or W01, the steps are launch, enter store, then we do a search on the application, then we select the first product, and we view the details of the first item. We have transaction names, so these names will be entered or present in our transaction controller of the JMeter. So we need to have a mapping of our names of the transaction or the response time of the transaction that we are going to give as a result to the workflow steps in the application. There should not be any ambiguity. So this kind of document helps in mapping those things. So here if I share the information the W01, T01, so that would mean workflow first, transaction first is the launch. I have also added a field for remarks where we are entering some information related to how many records should be there, or what are the things that we are going to input, and what are we going to do in this workflow. So for the first workflow, we are going to perform the search using dog or fish. In the workflow second, the flow is to select one category and buy the product. The steps are launch, enter the store, randomly select one of the category, then select one of the product, then add to cart the first item, then checkout, login, enter the payment details, confirm order, and log out. So if you see, so here there is some typing error, so transaction number should also be increasing. So enter the store, is T02, select category is T03, select product is T04, then add to cart should be T05, checkout should be T06, login should be 7, enter payment detail should be 8, confirm order should be 9, and logout should be T010 or T10. Here some remarks are: the reptile, cats, or the birds are the three categories which we are going to select when we are doing the recording or we are customizing the script. Now we are going to see how we do these things, because the theory is not the right way to learn how to prepare a script in the JMeter. So let's move on to the JMeter and see how we do these steps properly. First of all is this kind of, so I believe you all have downloaded the JMeter and extracted the zip file. The extracted file will give us this kind of folder, Apache JMeter, and 5.3 is the version of the JMeter. Let's move inside. So this will be the folder structure of the JMeter. We need to go inside the bin folder. So there are two ways to start JMeter. One is we double click on Apache JMeter.jar file. So if your system is not configured to show these extension here, you can see the type of the file. So executable jar file with the name Apache JMeter can be double clicked, or the Windows batch file jmeter.bat file can also be double clicked to open JMeter. I'm going to use this method, Apache jmeter.jar. I double clicked on this and it would open the JMeter. It is taking some time. To make sure that so there are some people who get confused, so read this Windows batch file and the name should be JMeter batch file. So this is the view for the JMeter. I have already changed the look and feel to Windows Classic, because by default you will see this dark left Darkula, and this will be a black interface. So if you want to make your JMeter look as my screen, so you need to go to options, look and feel, and select this Window Classic option, and it would restart the JMeter, and then you will start looking at the JMeter like this way. By default a text plan is already there. So to start the script recording, first we need to add the thread group. This is the first step where we are configuring or setting up the JMeter, and then we are going to set up the proxy on the browser. Go to add threads thread group. So I right clicked on test plan, add thread group. Next, on the thread group, right click, add, go to logical controller and transaction controller. Remember these steps right now. I am not going into very detailed theories like what are the controller, what are preprocessor. In the sessions we will try to cover those things also, but today we are going to be very practical approach, and so that in very less time you people are able to prepare your JMeter script for a web based application. So here right click on thread group, go to add logic controller and add one transaction controller. Please do not add recording controller. It would do similar thing, but the problem comes when we replay the scripts or we are trying to share the response time. At that time the transaction controller is the best thing. So please remember to add transaction controller. Now we need to add as many transaction controller as the steps. So one way is I am doing control C on this transaction controller and select thread group, control V, so the number of transaction controllers get added. Or I can do the again add logic controller, transaction controller to add more transaction controller. So now here I need to refer to my steps. Let's record this workflow where first we are going to do the launch. So this was my transaction name. First transaction controller will be this one. So select the transaction controller. Here in the name, enter the name you want to add and it would change. Second one is enter store. Third is search. So each and every transaction controller should have a unique name and the name should be corresponding to our workflow. This is the fourth transaction controller to select product, and the last one for this workflow is the view first item. So I added some extra transaction controllers that we can go right click and remove, or we can also click on the delete. It would also do the same things. Yes, I want to remove the selected elements. Now I have my steps, my transaction controllers ready to. So here while I copied, so there was a space. So try to make sure that we do not have those spaces here in our transaction names. So here what I did, I have added the transaction controllers and given them proper name. So here as a best practice, we should also save our script, and by default it would open the bin folder. Please do not save your scripts into the bin folder. Create a separate folder. For example, JMeter session I am creating, where script. So create a script folder to save your scripts so that it becomes easy to manage. So here I am going to save my script. Script name is w01 underscore. What was the name? This was the name. As a best practice, add version also. Version 0.1. This is the first version that we are going to save, as we keep taking the backup. This is a very important thing, that we should always keep taking the backups of our script. There can be some situation where we by mistake we delete something, or delete a request or delete a parameter, and then we will not be able to do or change or come back to it manually. So we may need to do complete recording, everything again. So to save that, please make sure that you keeping the backups of the scripts. Till now what we have done, so make sure to understand, remember properly, the hierarchy is very important in JMeter. Here I added thread group as child of the test plan. I right clicked on test plan, add thread group, threads and thread group. The transaction controller should be child of thread group and not of the test plan or any other component. And all these transaction controllers should be in parallel. They should not be like this. This should not be a child of another transaction controller. It should be a separate entity. So this is very important. The hierarchy is very important in JMeter. So all the transactions should be children of the thread group. Thread group is my script. So I am giving the name here also, W01 underscore search and view item details. So now I will know this script is for search and view item details, and these are the transactions for this. Next step is to set the proxy. So go to again, do not right click on thread group, right click on test plan, add, go to non test element, select HTTP as test script recorder. Let me do it again. Right click on test plan, add non-test element HTTPS test script recorder. So one more component get added, which is not a child of thread group. This is a child of test plan. Okay. So here you see a few information is already there. Let me expand this thread group as well. So first is the port number. Here this port number should be same that we are going to configure on our browser. First thing we need to make sure is the port number. Then we need to select the transaction controller. If you see, this is W01 T01 launch is our first transaction. So first step is the launch. So first thing that we are going to record is going to be recorded in this transaction, that is the launch transaction. To select the first transaction here, I'm not going into the details of all these options, but for now select this option in the grouping. So first one I selected transaction controller, the launch transaction, first transaction. Then in the grouping select store first sampler of each group only. By default it would appear do not group samplers, but we should select store first sampler of each group only. This will make our life easier while we are recording the script. Now remember this port. This is 4 times 8. Here my setting up or configuring the JMeter is done. Now I need to move to browser and set the proxy on the browser. Let me just recap. I added one thread group as child of the test plan. Then I added some child with the name transaction controller, or the components were transaction controllers as child to the thread group. I renamed those transaction controllers as same as the transaction names that we had already finalized for our script, and then we added this component as child of the test plan, HTTPS test script recorder. On the test script recorder we selected the target controller and selected the first transaction, that was launch. In the grouping I selected store first sampler of each group only. Now I am moving to the browser. So before that, remember this port number is 4 times 8. So now let me move to the browser. I have already opened one browser instance in incognito mode. This is a Chrome browser. Go to the settings. So we can search for proxy. So open your computer's proxy settings. It would click here. go to the manual proxy setup, use a proxy server, make it on, type localhost into your address, localhost, and the port number. Port number is 4 times 8 that is present in the JMeter. In case this port is used by something else, you can change the port. Let's change to 8080 or 7777. Let's say let's use 4 times 7 port number. If I am changing the port number, I should set the same port number here also. So now JMeter has the port number as 4 times 7, and the browser also has the port number as 4 times 7, and address is localhost. Now close this instance. Let me close this setting tab also. Now I am ready to start my load test script. So click on this start. If you see the green button here, it would open one pop-up which is for what is JMeter doing with this pop-up. It is saying that it has added a certificate. Okay, we need to allow. This would be a one-time activity that you would need to do. So that pop-up is there now. Okay, now my recording is started. So let's go to the browser. Let me move this to side. So I am going to record my script on this jpetstore application, jpetstore.cfapps.io. Launch is complete. Wait for the complete page to load before doing anything. Let the complete page load first, then move on to the next step. My launch is complete. Now I am not going to do the next step before selecting the next transaction. This was one of the tip there. We can do one thing more before that. In the JMeter we can see, is my script getting recorded? Yes, see, jpetstore.cfapps.io is recorded. The launch was recorded properly. Now go to the test script recorder again, select the next transaction, enter store. Go to the browser. Now click on enter store. So we selected the transaction first, then we perform the activity on the browser. Let me move this a little down. Okay, now this also is complete. Enter the store is complete. Now select the next step, that is search. Go to browser and search for dog. Before selecting the product, select the next transaction in the JMeter. So next is select the first product. So I am going to select, there is one product only, so I am going to select the first, this product only. A list of items is displayed. Go back to JMeter, select the next transaction, which is view first item T05. Now go back to browser, click on the item detail. I am going to click on the first item only, and it is going to show me the details of the item. My workflow is complete. So before stopping, as a good practice, close the browser, then stop the recording. So this is the first version of my script. As a good practice, I should do save test plan. So I am taking a backup. So first one was 0.1, so next will be 0.2. Now whatever, so 0.1 is my recording, and 0.2 is where I'm going to do the replays. I'm going to do the verification of the transactions. I'm going to see if my things are recorded properly or not. So first was launch. Yes, the launch happened properly. Then we selected catalog. Is it true? Let's see. Okay, so browser is so here this is also a very good situation that comes across for the people who are new to this thing. So here it will stop loading any application until, because we have added the proxy in the browser, but earlier JMeter, in the JMeter we have started the proxy, so that was why it was able to send the request to the server, because the proxy was set on the browser as well as on the JMeter. Now in the JMeter we have stopped the recording or stopped the proxy, but in browser the proxy is still set. So we need to go back to JMeter proxy or browser proxy, switch off the proxy in the JMeter. Here in the manual proxy server, select it as off. Now close. Now try to open. So right now what we are doing, we recorded the script and we are trying to confirm if my requests are recorded properly or not recorded properly. Another way to do is we can also see so I did F12 on my Chrome browser and select the network tab. By default it may open the elements, but we need to go to network tab, use F12 on the Chrome browser and see this. So launch is complete. Then we selected enter store. Yes. So in case there is any confusion if we are recording properly or not, so make sure that you can see the request here also. You see the catalog request. When I select on this catalog, I can see the complete details. So this can also help us in validating if my requests are recorded properly or we are not missing anything. This is to debug the correctness. So yes, second is the catalog. Do we have catalog in enter store? Yes. So the path is catalog. Next we did search for dog. Let's do a search. So one thing is we can clear the log so that it doesn't give us confusion. Search for dog. Yes, so the URL is products keyword is equal to dog, and see if this is there in the search. Yes, products and keyword is dog. Then we selected the first product. Here it passed something product slash K9 BD01. Let's see the URL. Yes, products slash K9 BD01. Then we selected view first item. The request is catalog items EST6. Let's do the same thing. Catalog items EST6. Yes, so my script is recorded correctly. All the things are there. Now we need to do a replay. How we do a replay? Right click on the thread group. Right click on the thread group, not on the test plan, not on any request. So this is transaction controller and this is request. So not on any transaction controller, not as part of any request. Right click on thread group, add listener, view result tree. So we are going to add a listener with the name view result tree. How I reached here? Let me do again. On the thread group, right click, add, go to listener, view result tree. Now expand and see if the listener with the name transaction controller is added in my script or not. You can see yes, the view result tree is added. Now here there are some settings, the number of threads. So right now we are going to run one thread and one loop. How do we run? We can start here, or we can also do a right click here and do a start. So I prefer this way, to start from the green button on the top. Click. So now go to view result tree, see what happened. This is the first request. This one -1 is the name from the launch transaction. Let's see what happened to this request. Request was this, yes, launch request, and this is the response that was appeared. We need to make sure, so there are two ways. One is the text view. There are multiple views, but here we are going to talk about text view and the HTML view. So is this the same screen that appeared when we were looking at the script or when we were recording the script manually? Yes, the launch is correct. Let's see the catalog. So what I was saying, these green ticks. So by default, these green ticks are because the response code here, if you see the sampler result, the response code 200. Whenever the response code is 200 series or something 300, 302, 305, something is there, then the JMeter or all the tools, I would say the load runner and every tool, just considers pass fail based on these status codes only, unless we add our own checkpoints. In JMeter it is called as assertions. So by default the status code 200 or 300 is pass and 400 and 500 is failed. So here we need to make sure that we do not rely on only the status code, we go and see the response data. So for every request we have one tab is request, where you can see what was the request that was passed, and one tab is response data. Here catalog 3 is when we entered the source, the first page that appeared. So yes, this salt water, fresh water, this was there in the top, so this is also correctly opened. Then we searched for something. First look at the request. Request was yes, keyword dog we searched, so response should contain the result from the dog. Yes, so friendly dog formula, this was the correct thing that appeared. Then we selected that product. Product was K9BD01 and the response was two item IDs appeared. Yes, EST6 and EST7. Then we selected this first one. So let's see what happened in the view first. Yes, male adult bulldog. So this was the detail from the view details of the item as well. So yes, this is very important. Please understand and make sure that before saying that my script is running correctly, make sure we look at the response content also, the response data also. Do not assume or do not rely on the status code of the responses. The 200 and 300 may mislead you to incorrect results. So here make sure that we see the response body. In normal web application we can see these in the HTML mode, the proper pages, the content of the pages, but in case of web services, the XML, JSONs, we have to rely on text or on the text part only, and we have to find out if the correct content was there or not. For this, what we expect from the browser, we expect that this information should be here. So I copy this from the browser and try to find here, or we find from this. If you see, I copied in this, click on find, not finding. Why it is not finding? Okay, because the content is coming in multiple things. So male adult is coming separately, bulldog is coming separately, but in case of JSON and XML you will be able to find out these texts very easily. In HTML pages the formatting etc. do make our task a little difficult if we have to search the text view, but in HTML view it is easier to find out and confirm if my recording is recording was done properly. One more tip: when you replay, add some more components. Right click on the thread group, add config elements, right click on the thread group, add config elements, cookie manager. So how cookie manager help? Because a lot of applications use cookies to manage their sessions, to manage the user identities, to check if the correct session is trying to access the application. Many applications use the cookies. So if our application is using cookies to handle the dynamic content, so using this cookie manager we need not bother about cookies. The tool has given us this flexibility that this cookie manager will automatically add all the relevant cookies whenever we run the script. So JMeter has this feature which is very useful for us. So we do not need to care about any information that is passed in the cookies. We just need to add one cookie manager. Make sure to add this cookie manager also as child of thread group. Let me just recap again. Thread group is child of test plan. Test script recorder is child of test plan. Then we come into the thread group. Transaction controllers are child of thread plans or thread group. The request should be child of transaction controller. View result tree or the listener should be child of thread group and not of any transaction. Cookie manager, transaction controllers and result tree, all three components should be children of thread group. Thread group and test script recorder should be child of test plan. This hierarchy, why I keep repeating these things, because the hierarchy is very important in JMeter. So right now if you see the request, everywhere it is saying no cookies. All the requests are saying no cookies because we have not added the cookie manager until now. So now I am going to clear this. How do I clear? See this icon on the top, clear. So I click on the clear, select view result tree, click on the clear, or we can also click clear all. So it would clear the previous session's data. Now I have added cookie manager. So what I expect, that every request now should also be sending the relevant cookies that were passed by the application, and those requests or those cookies are expected to be handled by the cookie manager, this HTTP cookie manager. Now let's see each and every request. There is no cookie, still no cookie. Here also no cookie. Here the cookie starts getting passed. So cookie manager is also sending some JSession ID, VC API ID. So these are the two IDs that are passed. So here the application is also managing the sessions, the JSession IDs using cookies only. So we just need to end the cookie manager and all the requests will automatically send the relevant or the correct cookies in all the relevant or all the requests where the cookies are required. So let me just quickly recap again. First step was we browse the application or browse the workflows that we were going to record. Then we moved on to configuring the JMeter, adding thread group, adding transaction controllers, adding the recorder controllers. Then we set the browser proxy. Then we moved on to recording the workflow by setting the proxy and starting the recording on the JMeter, and performed the activities. Every time we selected the transaction before we performed the transaction on the browser. Then we replayed, and so before replay we validated if all the requests were there in every transactions that we captured. We can also do that validation from the browser also using the F12 options, the network tab. Then we replayed and made sure that we are not relying on the 200 status. We relied on the response content of all the responses or all the requests to make before we could say that my script was correctly running. So I hope you have learned a lot from this session where we tried to cover JMeter, setting up the JMeter, how do we add the transaction, how do we record the script, how do we validate if all the requests are recorded properly, and how do we replay the script. We will be happy to answer your queries. Please ask your queries and we will try to answer as many queries as possible. Thank you for attending the sessions. Please stay connected. We will share more videos or more, we'll conduct more sessions to help you learn JMeter as well as more topics. So thank you guys.